For today's lesson, we are going to work on point of view and perspective. The two objectives that we are going to reach today are we will identify the author's point of view in a text, and then we will analyze how the author's perspective shapes the way ideas are presented in a text. So first, I want to just show the class two news articles. Our first article, Local Hero Saves Dog from River. So our first article, Local Hero Saves a Dog from a River. Our second article, A Reckless Teen Risks Life in Dangerous Rescue. Reckless teen risks life in a dangerous rescue. So the reason why I wanted to show us these two articles, which are speaking from the same story but from a different perspective, is with these articles we can see how so after reading the title of these two articles, which are telling the same story but from different perspectives, I want to ask which one sounds positive and which one sounds negative. I'm going to give you a moment to think about that, and then I'll call on a few people. Okay, I have one right here. You think it is positive. You think the local hero saves dog from river. This is a positive article. Yes, that is a positive point of view. Can anyone tell me why this first article may be conceived as a positive point of view? Yes. So we hear local hero saves dog from river. So with that, we know that the point of view, this may be someone who admires the person who saved the dog. It could be their dog they even saved. So their perspective is that this person was a hero. And now let's look at our next one. Reckless teen risks life in dangerous rescue. Do we think this one is positive or negative? Negative. Yes, this one could be perceived as a negative point of view or negative perspective. This could be someone who they may like what the teen did by saving a dog's life, but was it particularly safe? No, it might not have been safe for this teenager to rescue the dog from the river. Maybe they could have called the proper authorities. It was different procedures that could have taken place. And these two articles, which are showing us the same article, the same story, but different perspectives and point of view, and that is going to be what we're going to get into today. So even though an article could talk about the same exact story, point of view and perspective shape the way that we read it and the way we digest it. So for today's lesson, we are going to really focus on point of view and perspective. So when we're talking about point of view relates to who is telling the story. This is who is telling the story. When we read autobiographies, an autobiography, that is a story from the point of view from the person who is living their truth. They're telling their story. Whereas a regular biography, this may be completed from a researcher or someone with a secondhand account of incidents, and that is their point of view. Now, perspective is how someone sees the world, or how they see a situation, or how they are analyzing something. And what's perfect about our first assignment, or how we started this with our local hero saves dog from rescue, and reckless teen endangers reckless stuff. And local hero saves dog from river, and reckless teen risks life in dangerous rescue, is that these are two stories that happened at the same time, but the person who is reporting on each story, they have a different perspective. The way they understand it is completely different, even though they saw the same thing happen, but the way they both perceived it is different. So this is point of view and perspective. So Our assignment today we are going to work together. We are going to work together in groups, and I am going to pass out to each of you. We're going to get 2 articles. And today's assignment is going to be pretty fun because this is something that we are all used to. Is we're going to talk about lunchroom. We're going to talk about school cafeteria. So, for this assignment, you are going to read 2 articles. One article is from the perspective of a student. This could be a student at our school. This could be a student at any middle school, high school, elementary school in the world. This student has a perspective for their cafeteria food. We all may have different feelings about cafeteria food, depending on where our school is, if we like it or not. But the first article is from the perspective of a student who is indulging in cafeteria food. Our second article is from the perspective of a cafeteria worker. So now we're going to read about what goes into the cafeteria workers when they are deciding the food to make, how they deliver the food, and so on and so forth. So for this assignment, we are going to read 2 articles that discuss school lunch. School lunch from the perspective of you as the students, and also from the perspective of the cafeteria workers. And for this, so once we get into our groups, for this assignment, we are going to identify the point of view. Is this a positive or is it a negative point of view? We are then going to analyze how the author's perspective shapes their word choice and the details of what they are, the way they have written their article. And then finally, once you have answered the first 2 questions, I want you to work together again, and we're going to have a little discussion. We're going to discuss how does their perspective affect how we understand the text. So we're going to have a little discussion about how does their perspective affect how we understand the text. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to pass out some of these papers, and then we're going to pair up into groups. So now that we have finished our turn and talks and our discussions, and everyone has written about what the point of view and perspective from the 2 articles that we read. Now I'm going to hand you all an exit ticket. And for our exit ticket, the questions that our exit ticket will ask is, what is the author's point of view in paragraph A? So, in the article from the student's perspective, what is the author's point of view? And then, how does their perspective influence the way the event is described? So, kids, for article A, from the student's perspective, we are going to what is their point of view, and then how does their perspective influence the way that the events are described. Once we have done that, I'm going to give you a few minutes to work. Then we're going to have another class discussion where people are going to share out, and we're going to hear different answers from all of you. You may begin. So thank you. I heard from a lot of different people about how in the paragraph 1, the student's article, how the student disliked the school lunch. They didn't believe that the cafeteria workers put much effort into it. They didn't like it. So now we're hearing that perspective, and I loved what I heard over on the right side of the room where a student said that reading this article from the student's perspective, it can make a student not really want school lunch and tell their parents, hey, can you pack me a lunch? Because it did not sound that appetizing reading it from the student's perspective. But if we go even a little further and we read from the cafeteria, we read the second article about the cafeteria workers' perspective, you see that the cafeteria workers, they tried their absolute best to give students the greatest lunch that they can with the resources that are available to them. They are trying their best, but sometimes in life, you could try and you may not get the results that you want. So I love this assignment because we get to see that even though school lunch in many schools may not be the best option for students and the students may dislike it, we get to see that from the perspective of a cafeteria worker, they are trying their best and they wish that they could give you the best lunch they can. So these articles can really show us empathy and how to connect with people. And I really appreciate these articles. So as we are finishing, I just want to ask a couple questions. Did we identify the author's point of view today? Did we identify the author's point of view today? Yes, we did identify the author's point of view. In both articles, we got to read the point of view from these authors in the student's perspective, the student's point of view regarding school lunch, and then we also got to hear from the cafeteria workers' point of view regarding school lunch. And just to end this lesson on a bright note, I want you kids to always, whenever, the next time you're online and you're reading something, I want you to just always keep in the back of your mind, what is this individual's point of view? What is their perspective about this situation? And having that in your mind will be something that will make it easier for you to comprehend certain articles or certain events. So I want you to always think about what is the point of view and perspective from the person who is delivering an article, a book, anything you may see online or offline.